Good afternoon again. There's a lot of speculation about Palestine, Palestinians, who they are, history. I did some research on that, and a fellow by the name of Dave Hunt wrote an excellent article. I'd like to read part of it that clarifies a number of points. It's too much to go into for the whole study here on YouTube. But let's look at the first 4 points that Dave Hunt makes. Dave Hunt, The Battle for Jerusalem, Chapter 6 of The Gathering Storm. That's part of his book. We talk about lots of things relative to Palestine. Dave Hunt. The God of the Bible declares that as the end of the time drew near, all nations would be united against Israel. We have some corroboration for that. It says God gave to Israel and his heirs the promised land. The Israelis are Abraham's heirs by descent from him through Isaac and Jacob, whose name God changed to Israel. In opposition, Arabs who call themselves Palestinians today make the impossible claim of descent both from Abraham through Ishmael and also from the original Palestinian inhabitants of that land. But Abraham was from Ur of the Chaldees, and Hagar, Ishmael's mother, Sarah's maid, was an Egyptian. Certainly neither Ishmael's mother nor father was a descendant of the original inhabitants of Canaan. So both sides agreed that God gave the land of Canaan, which became Israel, to Abraham and to his heirs forever, and it was never rescinded ever, and that Ishmael was Abraham's firstborn son, whereas Isaac was the second, but the firstborn Sarah, and of the promise. The custom in Abraham's day, acknowledged in the Torah, gave the firstborn prior claim to the inheritance. The Torah also records the fact that Abraham was satisfied with Ishmael as his sole heir, considered him to be the son God had promised, and didn't even want God to give him another son. From those facts, the Arab descendants of Ishmael sound like the legitimate heirs. However, there was no such land as Palestine in Abraham's day, and thus no such people as Palestinians from whom any of today's Arabs could claim descent. In fact, Ishmael's descendants settled in the Arabian Peninsula, hundreds of miles from the land God gave to Abraham. So God brought Abraham into the land of Canaan, and the Canaanite, not the Palestinian, was then in the land. God gave that land by an everlasting covenant to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not to Ishmael. In obedience to God, Abraham settled in the land of Canaan. It was then inhabited by Canaanites, Kenites, Kenizzites, and so on. If today's Palestinian Arabs are descended from the original inhabitants of the land of Canaan, which ones of those listed above would it be? In fact, no descendants of the original inhabitants of Canaan have survived to this day. Okay, let's look at what does the name Palestine mean. The word Palestinian is never found in Scripture. It's used 4 times in King James Version, but never as synonymous with either the land of Canaan or the land of Israel. The Hebrew word is Pelensheth, and referred to a small region also known as Philistia, the land of the Pelishti or Philistines. It was in the area of the Gaza Strip of today, so named after the Philistine city of Gaza. There are other cities which were Ashdod, Gath, home of Goliath, Gerar, and Ekron. Those who currently claim to be Palestinians are Arabs who moved in from surrounding countries to feed off the prosperity of the returning Jews, who had turned desert and malaria-infested swamps at the cost of many lives into the prosperous farms that they are today. Even today, the Palestinians mostly took to Israel for employment. So, reading these facts and more, biblically there is no question that God selected Isaac to be heir to the promised land. Furthermore, God clearly tells Abraham, Genesis 15:13-16, that his heirs to whom the land will be given will be afflicted by another nation for 400 years, and only then will they be brought into promised land. It is indisputable history that this slavery happened to the Jews in Egypt, not to the Arabs. There were two reasons for Israel's lengthy enslavement. At the time of God's promise to Abraham, the wickedness of the Canaanites was not yet so great as to justify destroying them, but in 400 years it would be. And isolated in Egypt, the Israelites, as despised slaves, did not intermarry with the Egyptians, but became an established ethnic group to be led en masse into the promised land by God. And we know who they are today. In contrast, the descendants of Ishmael were nomadic people, and so on. C. The Quran stipulates that Jerusalem belongs to the Israelites. Although Jerusalem is found 811 times in the Bible, it is never mentioned once in the Quran, nor the words Palestine or Canaan. Moreover, the Quran agrees with the Bible that the land was given to Israel and possessed by those chosen people after the deliverance from Pharaoh at the Red Sea. And here's the passage in the Quran. Yet, in spite of these clear declarations in the Quran, Muslims insist that this land belongs not to the Jews as descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, but to the Arabs as descendants of Abraham and Ishmael. Now, how did the word Palestinian originate? AD 130, the Romans destroyed Jerusalem 60 years before, rebuilt it as a pagan city with a temple to Jupiter on the Temple Mount. There was an uprising of the Jews in protest and was finally quelled in AD 135 at the cost of 500,000 Jewish lives, with thousands sold into slavery and many thousands driven in exile. Despite the Jews, the Roman conquerors angrily renamed Israel Provincia Syria Palestinia, after the Philistines. From the time those living there were known as Palestinians, who lived there, the Jews. It is they who became known as Palestinians. Yet Bibles by major publishers have maps with such labels as Palestine under the Maccabees or Palestine in the time of Christ. Such maps promote a grave error. All right. We have enough. We can keep on going for more history. Just go back to that study under Palestine, is it a place for the Jews? And you got any number of points, how the history points toward the Jews and the politicism of this area in the Middle East.